What we got? Oh, go ahead. You can talk. I'm let me share.
You are live.
You are live.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome
We
again.
we are live.
We are here once again at Capital Recovery Center. My name is Craig. I'm one of your grateful certified recovery
Certified.
Certified, that is.
My name Michael. One of your recovery coaches. How y'all doing today? All right.
Yes, sir.
Let me share this video and let everybody know that they can log on and check us out and see what's going on.
And so we're not just here rattling off our gums. We're talking about this afternoon group, which is a hybrid group. Once again, this is our all recovery meeting. So today we're going to be talking about 6 ways your environment impacts your recovery. 6 ways your environment impacts your recovery. This article is brought to you by 7summitpathways.com. Shout out to 7summitpathways.com for allowing us to use that information. Absolutely. So, without further ado,
All right, we got all the house cleaning. Let's see what we got. We're talking about these environments that impact our recovery. Let's see what we got. Environmental influence is something most people understand on a fundamental level. A host of variables in a person's environment affect personality, attitudes, and habits. So it makes sense that the environment shapes a person's relationship to drugs and alcohol. This is true. This is the environment shapes a person's relationship to drugs and alcohol. I got to pull over, pause, and park. This is why a lot of times now you hear it's an epidemic, right? Because the environment of the drugs and alcohol is now going into neighborhoods where it wasn't before. So now it's a pandemic. I look at it like it's been going on every day the same way. I'm like, it's really what pandemic? This been going on in my neighborhood, my environment since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So the environment shapes a person's relationship to drugs. Research shows that developing an addiction that is about 50% genetic and 50% environmental. What role does your environment play in recovery? The people, dynamic, physical surroundings a person lives with can help or hinder the ability to successfully maintain sobriety. So we're going to go over the 6 things, but what I like here is what environment, what role does your environment play in recovery? I did a quick 2-minute video for a friend of mine, and the question was, what's one of the importance of recovery community? They said, can you give me like a quick 3 minutes? What you believe one of the reasons that it's important to have a recovery community? And then this says right here, what role does your environment play in your recovery? So you got both. The recovery community is there to assist the people who are struggling with things. And then your environment, you got to look at that environment and see what part is that playing in your recovery. Because we tell people all the time, I know you cool with that neighborhood or that environment, but I think you shouldn't be in that environment at this time. I mean, if ever, but especially in early recovery, your people, places, and things, your places has to change. So we're gonna go to number 1,
and that entails internally and externally, because a lot of times things occur first of all internally.
Yeah.
And so our environment, where we think, how we respond, how we perceive the given situation. So therefore, it works hand in hand.
And it's a tug of war. You get tug of war because you fighting against trying to stay on a path or maintain your sobriety, but you're actually in an environment where individuals like, I don't care nothing about your sobriety. You trying to maintain your sobriety, I'm trying to make this money. So you got two things going on at once. That's why if you ever get an opportunity to change your environment, you want to try to embrace it. All right, Juan.
Hey, Juan. Juan says, hey guys, it's a great day. It's a great day to be clean. Thank you guys for your support and help and continued encouragement and helping us stay clean.
Just for today.
Just for the day, one day at a time. That's
all right. Let's go. Number one. We're going to go to number one. What?
Number one talks about unresolved childhood stress forms addictive behavior. Childhood trauma is one of the leading environmental causes of addiction. Mental health experts refer to traumatic events, including abuse, neglect, and household dysfunction, as adverse childhood experiences. They are known as ACEs. All right. So when these experiences build up over time, they have a profound impact on a child's neurodevelopment. ACEs, which also is a acronym, right, for adverse childhood experience. ACEs disrupt typical development of areas in the brain that allow a child to cope with disruption and negative emotions. As a result of their delayed or stunted emotional development, children develop a variety of unhealthy coping mechanisms, including drug and alcohol use. These facts from multiple studies on ACEs and addiction show the scope of this environmental influence. And so, due to adverse childhood experiences, a lot of people, it may affect their development, the way they respond emotionally, or it may be a delayed or stunted emotional development. And so by not having healthy coping skills, one may tend to turn to drugs or alcohol to
cope with stressful situations.
Right. And one article we read it talks about dopamine. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter sensory of pleasure, and so in order for one to retrieve those sensory pleasure, one oftentimes use alcohol or drugs.
And then when it was talking about unresolved childhood stresses, unresolved meaning they haven't been discussed or you just carried it. Like you can have some traumatic experiences as a youth, as a child, and never really get them resolved. So now you're carrying it. You get older, you carry it. You get older, you carry it. So it's unresolved. So now you use unhealthy coping mechanism. One of the things is drugs or alcohol. And you use that to basically try to push down the unresolved trauma or whatever you have been experiencing. The thing I've learned as I got older and realized is that's not something that just happened to me. It was stuff that happened to a lot of people that didn't resolve some stuff that happened as a child. I'll give you a prime example. I always was mad because when my parents had their personal issues, they would go run out in the streets. And me being the oldest boy, I would try to stay in the house and make sure my sister and my two little siblings was okay, right? But I'm a kid. So, but I can't go play because I'm like, man, I make sure they all right. But my mom and dad not there, right? So that's a childhood experience that you can carry, like with resent, like, man, I didn't get a chance to be a kid. I'm hot. So you have to resolve it. So look, I ended up being addicted to drugs for 22 years without actually discussing none of the stuff that happened as a child.
And that's several scenarios or cases where it has been, well, in a dysfunctional house where it could have been DV, domestic violence.
Yep.
Without, going into a detail. But if counseling is so important, I say that to say this, that counseling is so important because I was watching a show the other night. Me and my wife, we was watching a show, and a young lady, she had unresolved trauma issues. And so now it happened when she was an adolescent, But as she got older, she said, there's something inside of me that's eating me up that I want to reveal to my mother. But that was, she was taken advantage of as a young child. And once she got it out, she said it felt like a whole weight off.
She set herself free.
Yeah, set herself free. So tell someone, seek counseling. That is some of the good advice that we want to give today. There are some bullets to this ACEs, unresolved childhood stress form addiction behavior. Children who suffer ACEs typically begin drinking earlier than their peers, making the usual underage drinking prevention program less effective on this group. ACE is also linked with developing mental health disorders and addiction later in life at ages 50 and up. One study indicates that for each additional ACE, the number of prescription drugs the study subjects use increased by 62%. A different study showed that for each additional ACE, the likelihood of early initiation to illicit drug use increased twofold to fourfold. When you can't change the environment you grew up in, it's crucial to find a recovery environment where you feel comfortable addressing the trauma that underpins your addiction. That means setting aside time for yourself to reflect on and process your feelings in a place where you feel safe. Sometimes the home environment is not conducive to personal reflection or working on therapy homework, and you will need to alter your surroundings to best tackle your feelings. For example, if the people you live with are noisy, you may want to minimize the impact by investing in noise canceling headphones.
So you can get what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
This joke is too loud. I can't even study.
I can't think straight.
Let's go to number 2, man. We're moving right along. Family dynamics can intensify stress. Unfortunately, family relationships can be a significant source of stress for many individuals in the process of developing a substance use disorder. Family ties tend to become extremely strained. As the addiction worsens, the person will shift their focus to drugs and alcohol over maintaining positive relationships, often cutting ties to allow continued drug and alcohol use. In some cases, the addicted person will take extremely harmful actions, such as causing big fights or stealing. This is talking about the family dynamic. Once in recovery, the way family interacts with the individual may create a very stressful dynamic. For example, attending a family gathering might involve getting pestered with questions about treatment and the state of recovery, which can get uncomfortably very quickly. Spending time in a judgmental environment can erode mental health and make sobriety more challenging to maintain. Come on now.
Maintain.
All right. Still talk about this family dynamic. On the other hand, a positive and supportive family environment can be a significant asset. A supportive, it's not saying they support anything wrong. It's just that when I'm doing a treatment plan for one of my clients at First Step, I always try to find out if they have any family support, a family support network, because I know without a shadow of doubt that it's a very important part in a person's recovery process. If they have it, and a lot of times, sometimes due to the years of repeated ups and downs or struggle with the substance use disorder, it messes up the family dynamic and it's not there. They're supportive, but they support from afar. Like, you doing good, all right? You can get something to eat, you need a ride. As soon as you cut, they be like, I love you. I gotta go. All right. When being in the presence of family provides comfort, the space can foster a greater sense of accountability and strength, the resolve to stay sober. Not every family relationship is repairable. You gotta get this part right here. Even though we family, not every family relationship is repairable. If it's using the word repairable, that means that it was damaged somewhere down the line. But family therapy is an excellent place to start with people when possible. You need the family session. You want to try to get your family involved. Thank you. Shameless plug. This weekend, Saturday, we have what's called the family meeting. and that's going to be this Saturday. We'll be here from 11 to 2. The meeting is between 12 and 1. So if you would like to come to that meeting or log in online, we'll be talking about the family dynamic or people who have overcome in their substance use disorder. All right, let's go to number 3.
Social environments may facilitate relapse.
Mm.
Humans are social beings by nature, but that nature is one of the leading environmental causes of addiction. Most people don't walk up to a stranger and ask to try a drug for the first time. In the majority of cases, the person's social environment facilitates their first instance of substance abuse.
Go ahead. That means majority of the individuals who start using it become from a family member. The high percentage of it is somebody in your family or somebody that knows your family. Because when you first try it, you usually might not go to a stranger, but you might try it with somebody in your family or somebody that knows your uncle, knows your aunt, like that.
That's right. Learn behavior.
Learn behavior.
When someone is in a location with peers who are drinking or doing drugs, that activity automatically becomes more acceptable. This perspective shift can cause people to try substances they wouldn't in other social settings. Likewise, a dangerous social environment in recovery can trigger irrational thoughts like, I'll just have one, or I'll just have enough to take the edge off. If you can avoid these circumstances altogether, you can eliminate a whole subset of triggers. Some ways you can strengthen your recovery by changing your social environment include 3 plugs. It says avoiding locations like bars or parties where you know there will be drugs or alcohol. Building a strategy for firmly saying no if offered a substance. Reducing or eliminating time spent with friends who drink or use. So it talks about people, places, and things, all right? In addition to reducing your exposure to triggers, social environments, you should work to add social support through recovery groups. Many such groups offer activities that can help you relapse happy hours, help you replace happy hours at the bar or weekends spent using with healthy, sober fun. And so there are plenty of support groups that can give you alternatives for the weekend. Just in advance, you are invited, or if you're not able to be in a surrounding or healthy environment where people who are not using, they give you or they offer some healthy alternative what to do when that situation occurs, whenever a trigger arrives, you'll know what to say and do.
You'll be right on point.
Hopefully.
Right on. All right, let's go to number 4. We got time here, man. Why are they not there?
Moving.
It says work environment can trigger relapse behaviors. This is full blown, you see people sweating. It's no secret that Americans get stressed at work. According to American Institute of Stress, 80% of workers experience stress at work. 40% of workers feel their job is very or extremely stressful. Man, I can't do it. Not everyone knows how to handle it either, as almost half of the workers report needing help learning to manage their stress, because stress is often one of the most powerful triggers a person can have. The wrong work environment can make it harder to stay sober. That's why you got to make sure. I know a lot of times when you're coming out of treatment or in the transition, it's hard to just like pinpoint where you will work, because you ain't established your work and stuff that you reestablishing your work history and everything. But try to find places where it's a lot less stressful. And then as you evolve or grow and get your foundation, then you're able to say, you know what, I'm gonna have to leave this particular job and go to another, because let's be realistic. Mm-hmm. If you relapse, lose your sobriety or whatever, right? The job gonna go right after that.
Oh yeah.
So if it's tricky, you might as well switch job.
Yeah. Because like you said, Mike, let's be real, because a lot of times we do find ourselves in stressful job situations, whereas the supervisor, you may not get along. The hours or the labor, the requirements of you the commute home, the commute to work, whether you had a good night rest, all these factors play a major role in how you can maintain your sobriety. And so, like Mike said, hold on to your job until you get established to another job.
Some work environments are more conducive to drug and alcohol use. For example, data from the most recent National Survey on Drug Use and Health indicated that minor industry workers have a past month heavy alcohol use rate. Yeah, that's true. I used to watch movies about that. They drink a lot of alcohol. Meanwhile, 19% of accommodations and food service workers, use at least illicit drugs, compared to the average of 8.6%. It can be difficult to function socially in a work environment where drugs and alcohol use is prevalent, making it more challenging to succeed both at work and recovery. So you're working in an environment everybody using. You gotta remember. I ain't telling you leave your job, just leave it without having security, but plan something where you can get out of it. Not everyone can suddenly switch jobs or career tracks to minimize the risk of having multiple coworkers who drink heavily or use drugs. However, being aware of the rates of drug use in your specific industry can help you stay on your guard and make better decisions if you have any triggers, experiences with colleagues. All right. Let me see. Handle conflict calmly and professionally. If you do end up stuck with coworkers you can't get along with, or who intentionally try to derail your recovery, remain calm and behaving professionally is the best thing you can do to keep your environment civil. It's okay to walk away from situations until you can put some of your coping skills to use and calm down. It's all right. Remain calm. Don't panic.
Don't be confrontational.
Don't be confrontational. Tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow, it'll work out in your favor. It will. Turn your focus inward and see if there's anything you could do to prevent conflict, and consider other perspectives to understand the situation more fully. This part right here is me all day. Is there anything that you can do that could prevent conflict? And I always use this analogy from one of my mentors. He says, if they start the fire and throw the wood in there, that's all the wood they got, all the fire they got. All the rest of the wood is you. In order for you to put that fire out, is don't put yourself into the fire. You the wood. So you gotta let it go. So if you have conflict on your job, don't try to be combative.
So hold on to that jewel or that coping skill, the fire and wood analogy.
Yeah. Cash out.
Cash out. Number 5. Let's talk about number 5.
Let's do it.
Digital environments can distract from recovery. Social media is a powerful tool that has a litany of benefits as well as many pitfalls to avoid. The primary issue with social media in the context of recovery is that people tend to only share the best part of their life. Image-based platforms like Instagram and Snapchat are particularly misleading, as users carefully choose nearly every photo they post to project a level of happiness and perfection that isn't realistic most of the time.
Most of the time.
You know the ones be like,
nobody will tell me about the struggle.
Yeah, I want to tell you about the downfall, all the good times. Yeah. Spending too much time with social media and taking it at face value can quickly lead to lower self-esteem and feelings of shame as you compare yourself to others. That is so true. A lot of times on social media, if we ain't got the best pair of sneakers on, we ain't got the best car, we ain't got the best whatever, we feel that we're not living up to the best standard of what is portrayed on social media. So we don't always have to be followers. We can be leaders. Set the trend. Set your own. That's what I'm gonna use today. I'm gonna post that. Setting new trends. All right. Be an innovator, not an imitator. All right. It said, on the other hand, using social media judiciously to do things like network with other sober people, share success, and coordinate group activities. A smart use of your digital environment.
So you can use it. It's beneficial.
Twofold. It's a twofold strategy.
Because a lot of times people want to say how bad it is, but you can actually use it if you use it right.
Yeah.
It'll work for your benefit. Even like spreading news. Can you imagine? Before we used to have what we had to do to share something to somebody. Now we can just use that.
Click of a finger.
And everybody know.
Everybody know. You ain't got to put it in the yellow page.
Yeah. Number 6, let's look at that. Physical environment can affect mental health. Remember, I want y'all to remember what we're talking about. I scrolled it on the bottom for you guys. All right? So we remember where we at. All right, so it says the impact of your physical environment on your mental health can become a source of addiction trigger. There are multiple ways your environment influences addiction, and untidy surroundings is a major one. Living in a home where there are dirty dishes all around the counter, the laundry room on the floor causes mental clutter and can make it hard to think through craving. Like everything's terrible and it messes with your mental state. On the other hand, an excessively bare environment with no personal touches makes it hard to connect with your space and feel safe there. So you got both sides here. And lighting, go ahead.
No, I was saying a cluttered room can have a negative effect, and one that's don't have nothing in it
Can have an effect.
Can have an effect.
Lighting is another element with the robust impact on mood, as well as learning. If you're spending your mornings with curtains closed, you're losing out on a chance to boost your mood for the day, and increase your capacity to retain new information.
Let some sunshine in your life.
Yeah, you know what I was saying? Was it Monday? I came in, man, one of these days this week. I came in, all the windows and stuff closed, blinds. I said, man, we got to And the reason why I say that is because when I used to get high, I used to always want everything closed and dark. It was so when I see all that dark, man, turn the light on around this.
Absolutely. I remember getting high all night long, and then I felt like Dracula. When I came outside, all this light, I said, whoa, man, where I've been at? What's going on?
All right.
Scripture.
It says stocking the kitchen, stocking stuff. But when it comes to specific areas at home, the kitchen is a central focus area. It should go without saying that you should stock your kitchen with healthy foods. But people beginning recovery often take a while to get their nutrition rhythm going effectively. Good God, I like those words. Making sure you have enough groceries to cover simple meals and quick snacks is a good way to avoid hunger being a relapse trigger. People struggle with addiction, overwhelming, have nutritious deficiencies that hinder recovery. So creating an environment where feeding yourself doesn't feel like a chore can significantly aid your recovery. All right? You want to keep going?
Sure, we'll do a couple more and then we'll close on out. Optimizing your bedroom. Getting enough sleep can be challenging at the best time. At the best of time. If you find yourself tossing and turning or having difficulty falling asleep, changing your sleep environment can help. Ensuring your room is free of clutter and keep devices that emit blue light off or out of the room are 2 essential steps to take.
Not turn the phone off because that light from the phone is bright.
Oh man, it's so bright.
Yeah, that's right. You have a whole. You be like, man, that one little phone, that thing lit the whole.
Absolutely. Feel like somebody sat on you with a flash.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you ever had that experience, that feeling? Or
all right.
Moving on. Choosing the right environment for your recovery. When you're looking for the best place to begin treatment, you must consider the role of your environment in addiction recovery programs. If you are seeking the most comprehensive challenge to facilitate recovery, residential treatment is the right option for you. These are the advantages of an inpatient setting and addiction treatment. Total removal. When you attend an outpatient or partial hospitalization program, you go home at the end of the day. as an outpatient, right?
Outpatient, yeah.
This flexibility can be useful, but it can also force you out of a healthy state of mind for recovery once you leave. Residential treatment removes you from circumstances and scenarios that can trigger a relapse. All right, and so that is the gist of all that we want to go over today. 6 ways your environment impacts your recovery.
Good stuff, man. 6 steps. We'll put the link to it in the comment section for y'all, okay?
All right, take care.
All right, good stuff. Good.